Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Letting Go of Her podcast. So I had recorded an episode last week, or to be able to air last week, and I just needed to finish the ending, right? And so I left the app open on my phone because if I had closed the app, but I didn't save it, it just deletes itself, it erases. So I didn't close the phone, or I didn't close the app on my phone so that I can come back to it and finish it, because I literally just had to do my ending where I'm today I'm learning to let go of this and whatever. And I was I'm going to come back to it, right? And so I came, I did what I had to do in the daytime, whatever. And then at nighttime, I came back to open up the app and I had closed it and I didn't save it, and I wasn't able to retrieve it, obviously, but it was also 10:30, almost 11 o'clock at night. So I didn't have enough time to re-record a new episode, and I went another week without a new episode. So I'm sorry about that. I was the intention was there, it was done, but it wasn't fully executed. And so at that point, I had to give up. And so now, obviously, I'm being proactive. It is Tuesday, and I have a little bit of time to get this episode recorded, so I'm going to do it. And I was, driving and I was, thinking about it. I'm what am I going to talk about? And I was well, I can just talk about what I talked about last week, right? But to be honest, I don't really remember what I talked about. I think it had something to do with, what I taught at the mom's ministry group at my church, but more so as to seeing the transformation that the Lord had done in my life through that. I don't know. I honestly don't remember. And I don't have the audio. So I can't go back to it. And I don't write these things down. I don't prep. I don't have notes. I just put my phone to my mouth and hit record. That's how all of these episodes are recorded. So anyways, but as I was driving, I was okay, well, maybe I can talk about something new. And I think that today, because I am extremely feeling it, but it can also be because, as women, we go through different cycles in our months. And I think it's because I'm about to hit a certain cycle, and what people call the luteal phase is what I am in right now. And if anybody knows, that week before the time of the month comes, that week is just like hell week. I feel for me, hormonally, emotionally, physically, it's worse than when I'm actually on my period. I don't know if anyone else kind of feels this way, but I am feeling it today. Also, I'm not feeling very good. My allergies have kind of flared up, and I feel it's turning into more than just allergies, or it could just be allergies plus something was on fire yesterday near us. So it could just be a combination of all of that, just irritating all of my sinuses. But I'm not feeling the best, and I'm tired, and I'm in my luteal phase. And you know what? My brain is telling me that life sucks right now, but it doesn't, right? It's just that time of the month. It's just all the hormones. It's just all the things that are making me feel this way. But because I am in this specific mindset, I feel that I should record an episode while I'm feeling this way, because maybe someone can correct me. Maybe the Holy Spirit can convict me over to stop feeling this way. But I did want to talk about being a mom and being a working mom, because I had this conversation with a friend just last week, right? And I'm gonna talk about how I used to think and how I think now. So I always worked, right? Ever since I was 16 years old, I've had a job. At some points in my life, I had multiple jobs. And then I married my husband, and then I had even more jobs because my husband was fired and we needed to pay off, a little bit of debt, and we had to pay off our apartment that we had just moved into right before he got fired. We bought a new car. So there was a lot of bills that were piling up, that we did because we didn't think that my husband was going to get fired. I don't know. Poor planning, I guess, on our part, but also we were 22 and 23 years old. So, but anyways, so I've pretty much always worked. And, when we decided to have my daughter, we were both in a position where I could still work and have her. because where we worked provided daycare. So like I could technically leave her in the daycare for like an hour, and then like I could rearrange my schedule also around my husband's so that she would only have to be there for like an hour, and then he would have picked her up and took her home and finished watching her or whatever. And we had it all planned out and all set. We're like, okay, cool. Like I'm going to take X amount of time off. And then once I am ready to come back, then I'm only going to take clients from this time to this time. He's going to work from this time to this time. Then I'll take clients after that. And then when she's old enough to go into the daycare, then I can leave her in there at least for an hour in the morning, at least for an hour at nighttime, so that I can get extra clients in, and we had it all figured out, and it was all going to be perfect, right? Like I was able to keep my career and be a mom and have daycare provided for me and still have my husband involved and still have my husband watching her too, right? Like it was just like the perfect setup. But obviously life doesn't always go as planned. And my husband ended up getting fired from his job. My husband's been fired a lot. It was funny because I think the other week or something, my daughter was like, Daddy, how many jobs have you had, right? And like we counted all the different places he's worked for, and I think we counted like 21. And it's not because my husband is a bad worker. We've just had like bad luck. And some places he's quit, and then because he worked in the union like that, they only contract you for for whatever amount of time that they need the job to get done. And once the job is done, then they let you go, and then you get picked up by another work site. So like that is where most of his 21 number of jobs has come from. But he's been in and about and around and whatnot. But with him getting fired from this job, it meant that now our schedules wouldn't align as perfectly. It also meant that, we wouldn't have daycare available for us for even just like the 2 hours of the day. So that kind of changed everything. And so he did find a job, and he would like rush home so that I can get to my job after he got home, and he would watch the baby. And it became too much because he would rush home as fast as he could. And sometimes I would be late to my own clients, which only like pushed everyone else back. And it just started to become too much, because sometimes like he couldn't say no to overtime. And at the time, like we needed the money. So like overtime, he would make more in overtime than I would like taking my clients. Right. And so we made the decision that I would quit my job and he would focus on his and do the overtime and do everything that was actually required of him. And I would just stay at home with my daughter. And it's not really something that like we discussed prior. Like we never discussed like, hey, you can be a stay-at-home mom, right? Because we had it all figured out, right? We thought that that I could still keep working while with the baby and stuff. And so it never like dawned on me that I would one day have to quit and like be a stay-at-home mom like completely, right? And it was a hard transition for me. And I think it was hard because like I grew up with like my mom always like telling me like never depend on a man, always have your own money, always this, always that, right? And when you become a stay-at-home parent, like you are pretty much financially fully dependent on this other person, right? Like I didn't have a way to make my own money per se, And so that always like it kind of gave me anxiety, because I'm like, well, like what if I want to buy this and I can't, right? And so it was just like, it was like a huge like, I guess like financial like wake up call. I don't know. It felt weird like buying myself something with like money that like I didn't earn, and like, sure, you can argue like, well, his money is your money, right? Like you're still working and he's working and whatever. But at the time throughout that transition, like it just felt weird. Like it felt like almost like I had to ask for permission for money. And it wasn't like a pressure that he was putting on me. It was more so like a pressure that I was putting on myself. I didn't really know how to like navigate that. And it wasn't really a conversation that like we had, right? Like because like prior to that, like I only worked because I didn't want to be bored at home, right? Like my husband has always, since we got married, been just like 100% the sole provider. Like he's always paid all the bills. I would have no idea what anything costs or anything, because he's always just taking care of that. And I worked so that I could, have my own money to spend on whatever I wanted. So like that was taken away from me, right? And so it was just like a weird and like a weird phase and a strange transition. But then, I became a stay-at-home mom, and he was working far. And at this time, like, I didn't really have friends. I didn't really know many other people with babies. Like, I was kind of one of the first people of like my friend group to, one, get married, but two, have a baby. So it was like weird. Like, I didn't really have anyone to talk to or anything. And I was really far away from family. We lived about like 3.5 hours away from family. And while my daughter was little, my mom would come maybe like every other weekend to come and help. But like throughout the week, she had to work, and I was just there by myself. So it got really lonely. And then we moved away. So we moved closer to family, but like still like an hour and a half ish away. And like where my husband was working, we were just not making enough money. And there was like a lot of financial stress on his end. And it was really rough and really bad. And, at one point we were like, we're going to lose our house, and we can't afford this and we can't afford that, like I remember like there was like months where we literally lived off chicken legs, because chicken legs at Aldi, at least, I don't know what they are right now. I haven't bought chicken legs in a while, but at the time, like for a good like 12 pack of chicken legs, it was like $3-4. And so we would eat chicken legs. Like I would figure out different ways to cook chicken legs, because that's all we could afford to eat. And like, we were like, whatever the baby needs, the baby is going to get. But whatever's left is going to be for us. So it was a lot of just prepackaged stuff. A lot of whatever I could find from like the Dollar Tree or whatnot. A lot of groceries were bought at the Dollar Tree or the 99-cent store, like our produce and whatever. And it was a $3, $4 pack of chicken legs. And that's kind of what we survived off of for a while. And yeah, there was just a lot of financial hardships for a little bit. And, my husband was used to making like a livable wage. And when we had to move and after he got fired and got this new job, like we were not living a livable wage. And so that put a lot of pressure on him, and there was a lot of pressure in our marriage. And it, this was when like his drinking got really, 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 really bad. And, there was just a lot, and I can make a whole episode about that on a different day. But I totally went on like a rant right now, but, now that we have this like a business going, it's been kind of like rough lately. So being like a stay-at-home mom and like being 100% financially like dependent on someone else was like really hard for me. And I don't know, maybe it was just because I was lonely and I didn't really have a village and I didn't really have friends. But, I was just like, I was always tired, right? As, kids are draining. And even though I just had one, like, I felt drained. I felt tired. And my husband would come home from work and he felt drained and he felt tired. And we went through like that period of time where we would like argue over like who's more tired, right? Like him who's physically straining himself, or like me who's mentally straining myself. Like we would have arguments over like, well, I'm up all night with the baby, right? And then the baby cries and the baby this and the baby won't let me put her down and I have to rock her to sleep and she has to sleep on me and like I can't move, I can't do anything, right? And then, my husband would be like, oh, well, I had to wake up early. I only had X amount of hours of sleep, right? And I was like 12 hours doing this and climbing this and doing all that stuff. And so we would have those arguments all the time over like who was more tired than who. And neither one of us like wanted to budge. Like neither one of us wanted to be like, you know what? I get it. You get some rest. Like we were like, no, I'm more tired. No, I'm more tired. And we would just like butt heads over that all the time. And then my husband joined the union. And that was a whole different thing. He had school, he had full-time work, he had full-time school. And somewhere in the middle of that, we decided to have another baby. I don't know. That's where my son came from. And we had my son like right before my husband's hardest 2 years of his like 5-year apprenticeship would start. It would be when he'd have to work all day and then go to school all night. And then some days on Saturday also. And like, I don't know if just the timing or what it was, but somehow we got crazy and decided to have another kid right in the middle of it. But to be honest though, like if we would have waited until he would have been done, like until now, like I would have been like, no, that's it. I'm not having any more kids. So, in a way it was a blessing, like, and the Lord obviously like saw us through all of it. Right. But that was hard. Like that was rough. Having him gone all day for work, and he wouldn't only just work 40 hours. It was like 60 hours a week. And then he had to go to school at nighttime, right? So I'm a stay-at-home mom, pretty much like a single stay-at-home mom. I don't want to say that because obviously like I would, I'm still financially dependent on him. But I felt like I was just like a, single parenting. I'll say it that way. Because he would always be gone at work or gone at school. He would come home super late. And the times that we did have him home, like he was just kind of like a zombie, just like wiped out. But I think at that time, like the Lord had really like changed my mentality on it. Because for so long, like I was just stuck in this like victim mentality of like, I don't want to do this. He's at work, he's at school. We have 3 more years, 2 more years, right? Like it just felt like forever until one day I was like, I don't really have a choice, right? Like I can complain about this, but me complaining is not going to change the situation we're in. Like I just have to put on my big girl panties and suck it up and just deal with it. And I have 2 kids now, and my husband's at work 60 hours a week and he's at school another 15 hours a week. Like I just have to suck it up and go and just live my life. And that's just what I did, right? And that's just what you do. You figure it out. And I figured out like a good, schedule. Like I figured out like, some days I'm going to take my kids here. Some days I'm going to take my kids there. Some days we're just going to have a home like day and I'm just going to make frozen pizzas for dinner, right? Some days we're going to meet with friends. Some days we're going to go out to eat with friends. Some days I'll go visit my mom or something, right? Like I just figured it out because me complaining wasn't going to change the situation that I was in. Like this was our life. Like my husband was at work, my husband was at school. He couldn't quit. He was like too close to finishing to quit. And we just had to do it, right? And so that's what helped me like transition. But my husband started this business and it wasn't even like a business that we were trying to start. It just kind of like fell into our hands. And for a good, like, I want to say maybe year and a half-ish, my husband was doing it all on his own, right? So he would work, he would go to school, and he would do the business. He would pack the orders and mail them out. And then it got to the point where he was like, hey, I kind of need you to help me mail these out, right? Like I'll pack them, but you need to mail them out. And so I did. I started mailing them out. And then about a year ago, my husband was like, I really need you to help me. Like I can't do school. I can't do work. And this business is getting a little too busy for me to just be able to do them at nighttime when I get home or in the morning before I go to work. Like my husband was getting like 2-3 hours of sleep. And he was like, I really, really need your help. And I'm not going to lie, I was angry and bitter because I was like, I don't have time to myself, right? Like you're always gone at work, you're always gone at school, and now you want me to work? Now you want me to do this, plus take care of the kids, plus clean the house, plus do all the laundry, plus do all the like food. Like I was angry and bitter about it. Like I was like, I don't want to do this, right? And I really prayed like really hard for the Lord to change my heart. Because I was like, God, I don't want to be bitter about this. Like, I'm like resenting my husband right now, right? Like I'm resenting him for making me work right now. And I didn't want that, right? Like I didn't want to like hate my husband when all he was trying to do was just like provide for us. And it's not like he started this business on purpose, or he didn't start this business to spite me. Like, he didn't start this business to be like, haha, now you're going to work, like it's something that fell into our hands, and it's something that just slowly started to grow. But I was so bitter about it. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And so fast forward to now, a year later, we now have a warehouse. We now have one of those, it's not a Sprinter van, because I thought Sprinter vans were those giant white vans, which they are, but the Sprinter vans are the Mercedes-Benz vans, and we do not have a Mercedes-Benz. So I don't really know what they're called, but those giant white vans, delivery van, I guess you can say. We have employees, and we have a full-blown, like, running business, right? And my husband takes care of it, and I take care of some of it. But the, like, exhaustion that I feel is something that's, like, that's surreal. The pressure that you feel is, like, something that's, like, surreal. I always thought, like, working moms, I'm like, well, at least you get to, one, take some time away from your kids, two, have a mental break, right? You're there and you're doing something else. You don't really have to worry about your kids because they're, at school, or they're at daycare, or with grandparents, or, like, wherever your kids are, right? And I always thought, like, oh, at least they get a mental break, right? Like, I always thought that, like, a working mom, as a stay-at-home mom, had it easier, because it was like, well, you get that mental break. Like, you get X amount of hours away from your kids. But boy, was I wrong. And this is not to say that being a stay-at-home mom is not hard, because I've done that too, and that is hard. That is also mentally and physically and just, like, exhausting all on its own. And a working mom is physically and mentally and exhausting all on its own. But being a business owner and being a mom is just, like, it's a whole nother level. Because when you're at work, or when you're working, like, you at least know typically a set schedule. You typically know, how much money you're going to make depending on how many hours you work or whatever. Like, it's sort of more, like, structured. Being a business owner, no one's going to do the work unless you do the work. Like, there's no one you can call to, cover your shift. That there's no one you can call, like, you can't, there's not really a way for you to call in sick. Like, business will not keep running, unless you go in and do the work, right? Like, when you work for, I don't know, let's just say, like, you work at Best Buy, okay? If you don't come into your shift, like, business is still going to run as usual, right? Like, whether you're there or not, they might be short staffed, or you might have to cover, have someone cover your shift, but, like, the store's still going to open, the store's still going to make their money, and that's it, right? But as a business owner, if you call out and you can't come in, like, for us, the orders aren't going to get done, nothing's going to get delivered, everything's going to fall behind, and the workload's only going to be twice as much the next day. And, like, the financial pressures you feel, because if you're not working, and if you're not selling, and if you're not delivering orders, like, people aren't buying, and you're not making money. And it's not even about making the money. It's like, now you have another level of bills to pay, right? Like, if you need product, you're paying for that out of pocket beforehand, right? And then you just have to pray that people are going to buy it so that you can pay that back. It's crazy. My husband, like, the other day, sent me a screenshot of him, paying off, like, our order invoice. And I was, like, just in shock. I was like, wait, what? Like, so we had, we made this much money, and now it's all gone. Like, so now we're back to zero, and it just, like, it doesn't make sense. The math just doesn't math to me. And I don't know. And I'm glad that my husband takes care of all that, like, financialness of the business, because I would just be confused. I'd be like, wait, how is this working? Like, how is any of this like still up and running? And it's just like, it's just so much. And this morning, like, I was having a conversation with a friend, and the whole time we're talking, I was just thinking, like, what is the Lord trying to teach us in this season? Because I never want to miss that, right? This is like, it's a hard season, but it's not a bad season, right? Like, it's a blessing to have this business. It's a blessing to be able to bless others with this business, right? Like, it's a blessing that we can take our friends out to dinner, or that I can, buy something for someone or something, right? Like that. It's a blessing that we're able to use this to be able to bless others. It's a blessing that my husband and I get to work together, and it's a blessing that we have this business just like all on its own. So it's not like a bad thing, but it's just a hard thing. It's an exhausting thing. And I just I've just been thinking and praying, and I'm like, Lord, like, what is it that you're trying to teach us in this, right? And it's funny because, we needed some yard work done in our backyard. And we asked some friends, like, hey, can we use your kids, your sons to like help and mow the lawn? And they're like, yeah, it'll be this much, right? And so my husband was like, too expensive, right? Like, and I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, we don't have to do it. We don't even have a lawnmower. Like, we can't do any of this, right? And so we went to Costco, and he went to go look at the lawnmowers because he's like, I can just buy one and do it myself. And the lawnmower was like 3 times as much as they were trying to charge us. And I'm like, we've had a lawnmower before. I think we've had 2 in the past. And sure, you mowed the lawn like once. And I'm like, and then what happened? Like, we forgot about it, and we left it outside, and then it rained, and then it just got destroyed, and it didn't work anymore. I'm like, bless others, right? Like, use your money to bless others, because that money is a blessing to anyone. Any sort of money is a blessing to anyone. And I'm like, stop being so selfish. Stop being so cheap. And I'm like, realistically, we're going to buy this lawnmower, and it's going to stay in the garage, and you're not even going to mow the lawn because you're too tired. You don't have the time. It's too hot. You're not going to want to do it. And I'm like, so just bless someone else. Right? Like, just do it. And my husband was like, and he calls his friend, and he's like, my wife told me to bless you, and it's just like, it's just a little funny side story. But truly, it's just like, what is the Lord trying to teach us in this season? In this season of like working hard. Because it's tiring and it's exhausting. And I'm like, I'm stuck between, like, I don't want to complain about how tired I am, because it is a blessing to be tired from the work that the Lord has given you. But also, like, how do I not be so tired? How do I manage it all, right? Because I feel like there's only so many hours in the day, and I want to do it all. Like, I want to be at work. I want to be efficient at work. I want to be present with my children. I want to be able to have a clean house, and I want to be able to do my laundry and to be able to cook meals for my kids, right? Like, I want to be able to hang out with my friends, and I want to be able to still do and be in ministry, and I want to be able to do it all. And I'm like, but where do I draw the line? Like, where do I give, where do I stop, or where do I give time to the Lord? What does the Lord want from me? And what does the Lord not want me to be doing? Like, I don't know. And that's kind of a little bit, I guess, of what I've been struggling with, is like, God, like, I know you put things in front of me. But I know that the enemy also puts things in front of me and makes them look like it's something that comes from you, and it makes it very tempting. But what is it that is actually from you? And what is it that you actually want me to do? Like, what direction is it that I need to go on? What path do I need to go on in order for it to actually be glorifying you? And that is just kind of where I am, because I'm like, I know that it's being tired is okay, but I keep hearing, like, you're tired because you're doing things that God hasn't called you to do. And I'm like, so am I tired because I'm doing too much? Am I tired because I'm not doing what God wants me to do? Am I just tired because it's like I'm blessed. I'm like, I don't know. And that is kind of where my brain is right now. I really don't know what the point of this episode was. I thought I had something in mind, but then I went on a million tangents, and well, we're at 30 minutes, so I'm going to cut it off here. My prayer for today, though, is to just not lose hope, and to know that there's a reason for every season in your life. I pray that you know that there's one, like a lesson in everything that you go through, but also it is a path for you to get closer to God. So I know that God has a meaning for all of this. I know that God has a meaning for all of this exhaustion. And I know that God has a purpose for where he has us right now. And I don't know what it is. And maybe I'll know in the next couple months, next couple years. I don't really know. But I am trusting in the Lord. And I'm also trusting and praying that the Lord can reveal to me like where it is that he actually wants me to be, so that it doesn't stray me away from him. And I pray this all in his son's name. Amen. Today I am learning to let go of needing to do it all, and to pray and to focus and to just do what the Lord actually wants me to do, so that I'm not overly exhausted and I'm not overly pushing myself, and that I'm not going on a path that's going to leave me astray, because I am a new creation.